Some horror films terrify with monsters, others disturb with ideas. But the truly unsettling ones burrow under your skin through sound. Welcome to Sounds of Horror, where we dissect the musical anatomy of the genre's most haunting scores. I'm Saul Muerte from Surgeons of Horror, and in this episode, we're examining one of the strangest soundtracks ever committed to horror cinema, the score to XTRO in 1983, composed by the film's own director Harry Bromley Davenport. It's a soundtrack that feels less like music and more like an alien signal bleeding through your speakers. Unlike many scores of the early 1980s that leaned toward orchestral bombast, XTRO's music is eerily minimalistic and experimental. Davenport's score uses sparse synthesizers, discordant electronic textures, abrupt tonal shifts, almost childlike melodic motifs. The result is deeply unsettling because it refuses traditional musical comfort. Instead of guiding the audience emotionally, the music destabilizes them, which fits the film perfectly. The story centers on a father abducted by aliens who returns years later, but not as the same man. The score mirrors that transformation, familiar shapes twisted into something grotesque. Let's start by looking at our key track analysis. The first piece of music is called the main title, or Brainstorm. This opening cue functions like a corrupted lullaby. A fragile synthesizer melody begins almost innocently before dissolving into an eerie electronic haze. It feels less like a traditional title theme and more like a sonic omen. There's a deliberate unease here, a sense that something organic has been replaced by something artificial. In other words, the music already knows what the audience doesn't. The second track is called Humanoid, one of the score's most effective tracks. The music pulses with a repetitive electronic rhythm that feels strangely biological, like a heartbeat that doesn't quite belong to a human body. The track embodies one of the film's core themes, the grotesque fusion of alien and human biology. Instead of orchestral horror stings, Davenport leans into droning textures that feel invasive, almost parasitic. The next track I want to focus on is called Spontaneous Creation. Arguably, this is the most disturbing cue in the entire score. The music is fragmented, almost unfinished, echoing the infamous scene it accompanies, the shocking birth sequence that has become one of the film's most notorious moments. The cue functions like a sonic mutation, constantly shifting and refusing melodic resolution. It's body horror translated into sound. And lastly, I want to look at Return to Nowhere. At nearly 10 minutes, this is the score's centerpiece. Rather than escalating into a climax, the track drifts into increasingly abstract sonic territory, echoing tones, distant synth pulses, and haunting atmospheres. It's less a piece of music than an auditory void. The effect is hypnotic. You're not listening to a melody, you're listening to an environment. The XTRO soundtrack may not have the fame of scores like Halloween or The Exorcist, but it represents something important in horror music. It proves that terror doesn't always come from orchestras or dramatic themes. Sometimes the most disturbing soundtracks are the ones that feel alien to music itself. And that's exactly what Davenport created. A score that doesn't just accompany the horror, it becomes it. Next time on Sounds of Horror, we'll delve into another iconic nightmare from Rolling Stone's list of the greatest horror soundtracks, exploring how music shapes the way we fear. Until then, listen carefully, because sometimes the scariest thing in a horror movie is what you hear.